Hey guys, today I'm going to read you a book called My Great Aunt Arizona by Gloria Houston. And it's for all the teachers, members of the most influential profession in the world. My great aunt Arizona was born in a log cabin her papa built in the meadow on Henson Creek in the Blue Ridge Mountains. When she was born, the mailman rode across the bridge on his big bay horse with a letter. And there's a picture of the house. The letter was from her brother, Galen, who was in the cavalry far away in the west. The letter said, "If the baby is a girl, please name her Arizona, and she will be beautiful like this land." There's her mom and dad reading the letter. Arizona was a very tall little girl. She wore her long brown hair in braids. She wore long, full dresses and pretty white aprons. She wore high-button shoes and many petticoats, too. Arizona liked to grow flowers. She liked to read and sing. And square dance to music of the fiddler on Saturday night. There she is dancing. There's the man playing the fiddle. Arizona had a little brother, Jim. They played together on the farm. In summer, they went barefoot and caught tadpoles in the creek. In the fall, they climbed the mountains searching for galax and ginseng roots. In the winter, they made snow cream with sugar, snow, and sweet cream from Mama's cows. When spring came, they helped Papa tap the maple trees and catch the sap in buckets. Then they made maple syrup and maple sugar candy. Arizona and her brother Jim walked up the road that wound up by the creek to the one-room school. All the children and all the grades were there, together in one room. All the students read their lessons aloud at the same time. They made a great deal of noise, so the room was called a blab school. That's what it looks like on the outside. And there it is on the inside. The students carried their lunches in lard buckets made of tin. They brought ham and biscuits. Sometimes they had fried apple pie. They drank cool water from the spring at the bottom of the hill. At recess, they played games like tag and William Matrimonito. I'm not sure what that one is, but there they are eating lunch. And there they are at recess playing. When Arizona had read all of the books at the one-room school, she crossed the mountains to the school in another village, a village called Wing. It was so far away that she rode her papa's mule. Sometimes she rode the mule through the snow. When Arizona's mother died, Arizona had to leave school and stay home to care for Papa and her brother Jim. But she still loved to read and dream about faraway places she would visit one day. So she read and dreamed, and she took care of Papa and Jim. Then one day, Papa brought home a new wife. Arizona could go away to school, where she could learn to be a teacher. Aunt Susie invited Arizona to live at her house and help with the chores. Aunt Susie made her work very hard, but at night Arizona could study and dream of all the faraway places she would visit one day. Finally, Arizona returned to her home on Henson Creek. She was a teacher at last. She taught in the one-room school where she and Jim had sat. She made new chalkboards out of lumber from Papa's sawmill. and covered them with polish made for shoes. She still wore long, full dresses with a pretty apron. She wore high-buttoned shoes and many petticoats, too. She grew flowers in every window. She taught students about words and numbers and the faraway places they would visit someday. Have you been there? The students asked. Only in my mind, she'd answer, but someday you will go. Arizona married the carpenter who helped build the new Riverside School down where Henson Creek joins the river. So Miss Arizona became Mrs. Hughes, and for the rest of her days, she taught fourth grade students who called her Ms. Shoes. And when her daughter was born, Ms. Shoes brought the baby to school to the sunny room where the flowers grew in every window. I guess that's her baby down here. Can't turn the page. Every year, Arizona had a Christmas tree growing in a pot. The boys and girls made paper decorations to brighten up the tree. Then they planted their tree at the edge of the schoolyard year after year until the entire playground was lined with living Christmas trees, like soldiers guarding the room where Arizona taught, with their long gray braids wound around her head, with her long full dress and pretty white apron, with her high buttoned shoes and many petticoats too. The boys and girls who were students in her class had boys and girls who were students in her class, and they had boys and girls who were students in her class. For 57 years, my great aunt Arizona hugged her students. She hugged them when their work was good. She hugged them when it was not. She taught them words and numbers about faraway places they would visit someday. Have you been there? The students asked. Only in my mind, she answered, but someday you will go. There's Aunt Arizona right there. Or Ms. Hughes. It's hard time doing that. My great Aunt Arizona, it's a tongue twister, taught my dad, Jim's only son, and she taught my brother and me in the fourth grade. With her soft white braids wound around her head, she taught us about faraway places we would visit someday. So Aunt Arizona taught whoever's telling the story, the narrator, they taught her dad, which is Jim's only son. My great Aunt Arizona died on her 93rd birthday, but she goes with me in my mind, a very tall lady in a long full dress and a pretty white apron with her high buttoned shoes and her many petticoats too. She's always there in a sunny room with many flowers in every window and a hug for me every day. She never did go to the faraway places she talked about, but my great Aunt Arizona travels with me and with those of us whose lives she's touched. She goes with us in our minds. And that's the end of the story. I'll be reading to you soon. Take care.